All right, let's take you back to one of our big stories that we're tracking this morning, the annual Mining Indaba, which has kicked off in Cape Town today. It comes at a time where the country's energy crisis is having a serious negative impact on the mining industry. We believe that Mineral Resources Minister Gwede Mantashe is addressing the media following that address a bit earlier on. Let's listen in.
Perhaps on how many jobs, specifically in the mining sector, have been affected by load shedding and how many have been lost? And then what I also want to find out from you as government, is government doing anything to assist those people, those jobs that were affected because of load shedding?
Hilary Jaffe from Business Day. I just wanted to follow up on the question about the cadastral system. You say that you want to have completed the procurement process by the end of this year, and the difference is this time around you don't want a bespoke system, you want something that has been tried and tested in other countries. Have you imposed any additional conditions? Does it have to meet localization requirements, black empowerment requirements, any other particular requirements, or are you just going out to look for the best system? That's my one question. But the other is, could you give us an update on the backlog in licenses, both mining licenses and exploration licenses? I seem to remember a figure from a year ago of several thousand, and I wonder if you could give us the most up-to-date figure, if it's come down, what has accounted for your success, what are your targets in terms of licensing? Thanks very much.
Yeah, the red hand, yeah?
Thank you very much. Michael Avery, also Business Day. Just if you could also provide an update on your target, which I think was set back in 2019, to attract 5% of global exploration spend. Last year, I think it was at about 0.7, and what you're tracking at now, whether or not you even measure this. Thank you.
Thank you. Minister Indaba, your responses, please.
Okay. The jobs lost on load shedding. There's one thing that I commend mining for. We didn't throw people away during the lockdown. We started to be very innovative. We allowed coal mining to produce at full capacity at level 5, and we allowed open cast to produce at full capacity at level 4, and we allowed mining to produce at full capacity at level 3. That made mining to lead the reconstruction and recovery of the economy. That's why when the fiscus was in crisis, it was mining that saved the fiscus. So we have not received any report of a rush of retrenchments because of load shedding. We're not getting that. That's why I cited the example of goldfields, that goldfields took the advantage of generating their own additional energy when the industry was declining 9% year on year. Goldfields grew 10%. And therefore, we're seeing a number of mining companies beginning to follow the goldfields example. That is innovation, and that is what will save a number of jobs. So there's no flood of jobs that have been lost because of load shedding. Therefore, the next question falls off. Cadastral,
thank you, Honorable Minister. I think on the cadastral system procurement, we need to be very careful that we don't do procurement, in the media space, as it were. So I cannot be very specific about what the requirements are until CTICC has gone out to market. But what we can indicate is that they are the standard procurement requirements of government, one. But as I said earlier, we want a system that has been implemented in other jurisdictions. I think that should give comfort enough. On the backlog, I think we have made strides. We've established a culture of discipline when it comes to meeting timelines. The last count, we are close to reducing the backlog now by over 50%. However, we can indicate that we have made a commitment to eradicate the backlog by the end of the financial year 2023-24. So that is effectively what we're aiming at. And we also prioritize. So we make sure that where there is an investment significant that is going to come into the country, we also look at that as a priority instead of just looking at the mining permits that just are going to mine over 5 hectares. Thank you.
And let me just add on the conditions that you're asking. One of the things that I think we must disabuse ourselves of is to regard BEE and giving blacks access to the economic activity a scarecrow. It's not a scarecrow. But ordinarily, for activities that build momentum, we don't impose that condition. That's why in the mining charter, for exploration license permits, we don't impose a BE requirement. We impose the BE requirement at the point of production, because at the point of exploration, you are looking for a mineral, you want to quantify it, so therefore you're not creating value. When you start creating value, then we impose BE conditions. So imagine even in the cadastral, the benefit is not in the cadastral system. The benefit is an accelerated approval of licenses. That's where we must see the benefit. On the exploration, 5%, let me explain this. Try to simplify it. If we say we're targeting 5%, it's not on and off. Below 1%, then 5%. One of the things that we talked about was that we've established a 500 million rand fund for junior miners to do exploration. That is a kickstart of a program that will have to grow once people see the benefits of that program. That what we do with the ITC, they will come in and the number will grow systematically, not from 0 to 5. But already we're beginning to see positive signs in the exploration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I see there's a hand. I'm just going to allow this one last round. If you miss this opportunity, it's your own Indaba, okay? Then, so I only have 2 questions from the floor. We are done.
Okay, thanks so much, Minister. Good morning, sir. What do you make of what seems to be a tense relationship between the Minerals Council and Transnet? They have reportedly called on her to go. She says the Minerals Council are against transformation. What do you make of the apparent beef? And have you at any point been called into those discussions yourself, or even your colleague, the Public Enterprises Minister, sir?
Good morning. I would like to know, the Defence Force was deployed a couple weeks ago at some ESCOM facilities. are they still deployed? And is the government taking any further steps to protect the power plants against sabotage?
Now to the last question.
Thank you. Langston Gwede, the mining executive. So my question would be, what are the challenges facing coal in South Africa? Because we see that it poses a number of threats to the green strategy in the global economy. And from a report that we saw, it says that we are looking at about 264 billion annual mining sales that will be lost as we look to meet the global commitment in the green energy. And as a follow-up maybe to an earlier question on the investment, what is South Africa's strategy as we compete for skills and finance on the global economy, given that we saw that in the Middle East there's a lot of mining that's starting up, and globally there's a shortage of skills and finance. And so what is South Africa's strategy to harness the skills as well as to be able to attract more investment and skills into the sector?
Thank you. That was our last question. Back to the panelists and by the minister.
When I was speaking today, I acknowledge the efforts by the Mineral Council to work together with Transnet to resolve the problems of logistic bottlenecks. And I think that is the correct way to follow. We can all stand up, take public podium, insult one another, call each other names, but the solution is on working together and get solutions. So, the Mineral Council, my understanding is that they are even prepared to invest resources to resolve the problems. So we're hoping that we will get a solution on that. So there's no need for me to intervene. I must allow the Mineral Council and Transnet to deal with their issues, resolve them. If there's impasse, we can enter the space. Government protecting power stations. I think let's think like business people. Any business, whether it is ESCOM or it is a restaurant, the primary responsibility of security remains with the entity itself. That's where it starts. The entity must protect itself, must provide safe working environment to its employees, and the state does intervene in protecting ESCOM because it's a state-owned entity. So when it intervenes, sometimes in some of those power stations, soldiers were deployed, not because it is the duty of the state to send deployment, to deploy soldiers to protect entities. ESCOM must have a strong security arrangement, and the state will intervene when saboteurs get out of it. It has done that from time to time, but primarily ESCOM in building its systems must also build security systems. Mining sales lost. I think we quantified that for year 2021, that mining production dropped by 9% roughly as a result of load shedding and logistic bottlenecks and crime in the industry. So that covers the loss. But you'll find that that loss is at 9% because in the area of sales we're doing well because of the prices of the commodities. So you can't just measure performance of mining on sales because sales may mislead you when prices are good. For example, coal is making a kiln, is beginning to soften up, but it was actually had its sales to Europe growing 8-fold. So those are improvement in sales, but you measure sales and you measure productivity of the sector. the strategy to attract skills. I don't know if we should be in a competitive position to compete for skills. I don't think we should do that. The Middle East is beginning to focus on mining because oil is under threat as a fossil fuel. What we have done, I think we have listened to the countries I said our Council for Geoscience is active in. Some of those, like Saudi Arabia, is in the Middle East. So we're active in the Middle East as well. So instead of competing for skills out of the Middle East, we're also focusing on pursuing opportunities in the Middle East for our own sectors, showcase our capabilities, and get them used competing with many international competitors in that space. So that's what we're doing. Anything? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think we've